Shiv Sena MP Milind Deora joins us for a quick chat. Thank you, Mr. Deora, for speaking to NDTV. The poll dates are out. How confident are you, sir, about the Mahayuti's win, considering what happened in Haryana?
Well, I'm confident. I'm never overconfident. That's my nature. And I'm confident based on because of several issues. Number one, Vasudha, I think it's important to note that in 2019, the Mahayuti, which is the NDA, received a second consecutive term. Unfortunately, a political disruption took place where, because Mr. Uddhav Thackeray was not given the chief minister post, he joined hands with the Congress, and that led to a severe political disruption in Maharashtra, which hasn't happened since '99 when Sharad Pawar ji left the Congress party. Since then, you are right that there have been all kinds of changes to Maharashtra's politics. But what really matters is in the last 2 years, and I say this as a Mumbaikar, as a Maharashtrian, a born and raised Mumbaikar, the kind of work that has happened in the last 2 years, whether it's for the rural people, whether it's for people in urban areas, whether it's for infrastructure, whether it's to bring Maharashtra back to being the #1 foreign direct investment state in the country, has been unprecedented. And the chief minister's leadership, his style of working, his accessibility, his his work schedule, grueling work schedule, in my opinion, is an X factor in this Maharashtra elections, and it's going to play a critical role in bringing Mahayuti back to power. Certainly, Haryana winning a hat trick, the first time in Haryana's history, has in some ways given the NDA a boost. But I still believe that the alliance is not overconfident. The alliance is confident,
right,
based on the work that has happened in the last few years.
Mr. Deora, when it comes to Mr. Shinde as the Chief Minister, there's no doubt that he was also the best performer when it came to Lok Sabha elections within the Mahayuti. Has that also put your party in a better position when it comes to negotiations on seat sharing with the BJP and also the NCP? And who's going to be the CM, sir?
See, I'll tell you one thing about Mr. Shinde. He's truly a man who calls himself, he says, I'm CM, but I'm not the Chief Minister. For me, and he's truly someone who operates like a karyakarta. I've been going to the Chief Minister's bungalow called Varsha and Malabar Hill maybe since childhood, and seen many Chief Ministers living in Varsha. I've never seen Varsha this open for the public. He's not someone who's interested in the Chief Minister's chair. He's interested genuinely in serving people, meeting people. He gets a high from interacting with people coming to see him, going before the people, not scared to do that. So I think it's very clear that the alliance will go into the elections under his leadership, which clearly means that if this alliance comes to power, it will obviously be him who will be Chief Minister. But this is something which is not for a studio debate. This is something which will happen and be discussed internally. But what's very interesting is that until a few months ago, until before the Lok Sabha elections, Uddhav Thackeray ji was very clear that he's the chief ministerial candidate. After the Lok Sabha elections, things changed. After Haryana elections, things changed again. And now there's not just confusion, but in fact, there's a big question mark as to who will be the chief minister. If they come to power, will it be from someone from the NCP Sharad Pawar group? Will it be someone from the Uddhav Thackeray group? Will it be someone in Congress? So here there is complete clarity. There is no ambiguity as to who we are projecting as the chief minister face going into the polls. And that's a very critical development.
Right. Mr. Deora, also in the last few days, we have seen many incidents such as Baba Siddiqui's murder or the rape of minors in Badlapur and a couple of other instances which have also led to these allegations and a feeling that the law and order situation in Mumbai has taken a hit. Will that also not affect your party's prospects?
Look, people are free to politicize these incidents. I, in fact, welcome the politicization of these incidents. I wouldn't say don't politicize it because we have a counter question and answer to if the law and order situation in Maharashtra is so bad, why is it that Mumbai has not seen a terror attack for the last 10 years, which was the norm from 2004 to 2014? I myself was an MP at the time and many a times had to petition the government of Maharashtra and the government of India. 400 people in Mumbai lost their lives in those 10 years. Not a single terror attack, mind you, in the last 10 years in Mumbai city. People feel safer going to movie theaters, going to the market, going to events, celebrating festivals. Women feel safer in Mumbai than they do in any other city in India, and I can say that confidently. If the law and order situation has deteriorated, look at the state of Gadchiroli, which was a Naxal hotbed until a few years ago. Today, it's become the steel hub of India. Today, recently, a Bhumi Pujan, a foundation laying ceremony was done by a large steel company in Gadchiroli, which will provide jobs to 7,000 local youth. In fact, there is a huge correlation between the deteriorating law and order situation in Maharashtra during the MVA government and Maharashtra losing its number one position as the state that attracted the most amount of foreign direct investment. In fact, Maharashtra has traditionally been the number one state to attract FDI in India. It fell to number two during MVA. One of the reasons for that was because the chief minister at the time was openly giving a clean chit to a rogue police officer who was going and planting bombs outside the homes of industrialists, trying to extort money from them. And that led to a flight of capital, not just among large industrialists, but even among small traders who felt that if this can happen to large industrialists, what would be happening to us?
Right.
There was blatant extortion happening in Maharashtra. So I think it's very unfair for the opposition to make a claim that their law and order situation was better than this situation. This is a government which takes law and order very, very seriously. Yes, if an incident has happened in Badlapur where a janitor of a school was found molesting young children, has the government taken action immediately? That's the question to ask. If today there is a person, a leader of a political party who has been assassinated, is the government taking action? Is the police moving swiftly to find out who are the culprits, working across the state with different law enforcement agencies in India and in different states? That's happening. And it's very unfair to call the Mumbai police, Mumbai police, I can tell you, is unarguably India's most professional police force. So I welcome the politicization of this because when someone criticizes this government for a law and order failure, they must answer why did the chief minister of the time say that rogue police officer who was found extorting money from industrialists, why did the chief minister at the time make a statement on the floor of the assembly that please don't compare him to Osama bin Laden?
Mr.
In fact,
Deora,
I personally believe he's worse than Osama bin Laden.
But I need to also ask you this. What is your answer to the opposition when it's raising questions on these last-minute decisions that the MBA government has been taking, be it, the Diwali bonus for BMC workers or constitutional status to SC Commission, and also the most important thing, doing away with toll charges in Mumbai? Opposition has said that the timing of this shows that all these decisions are politically motivated.
Now, in India, where you have elections every 6 to 12 months, every decision a government takes, whether it's a state government or the central government, one can criticize it for being politically motivated. So I guess that's a separate issue, which is why we need to examine the one nation, one election concept. But all of these are issues which, in fact, some of these are issues which the opposition was talking about. It's just that this government had the guts and the conviction and the political will to implement them. In fact, giving some kind of a stimulus package to women of this state and of this country is not something new that other political parties have not talked about. But as the chief minister rightly mentioned in a news conclave, he says there's a difference between khatakhat and fatafat politics. Some parties and some political leaders simply say khatakhat, but they don't actually go down to implementing it. And he went ahead and implemented. So I think there's a huge difference, firstly, and I say this as a fiscal conservative myself. There's a huge difference in announcing freebies like free power, free water, which you can argue is some form of revdi, versus giving a stimulus to people who need it the most.
Actually, yeah.
On the stimulus issue, there seems to be consensus among all political parties across the political spectrum. Is it good, bad, right, wrong? That's a separate issue. But there is enough data to suggest that Keynesian economics, which gives a stimulus right in the hands of the people.
Yeah, that's a very valid
it boosts the economy,
argument, sir.
But that's very different from a revdi scheme. So this government is certainly steering clear from that. The government doesn't want this to become a welfare state. Maharashtra is an
you're drawing a
progressive
distinction
state.
between what is a freebie and what is actually, a necessary stimulus. But Mr. Deora, let me also ask you my last question. The transfer of votes has been cited as, a challenge, with what happened with the Mahayuti in 2024 elections of Lok Sabha, particularly with regard to NCP. Devendra Fadnavis has also spoken about it. How are you going to address that problem, sir?
Look, what has happened in Maharashtra, as I said, please rewind to 1999. The last big disruption before 2019 was when Mr. Sharad Pawar left the Congress party. After that, the largest political disruption happened in 2019, when the Mahayuti got a second consecutive term. But Uddhav Thackeray and the Congress came together unimaginable. As a result of that, what is very clear is that Uddhav Thackeray's core vote has clearly moved out. But Congress's vote, which is largely minorities, religious minorities, have moved to Uddhav Thackeray. So that's something which has happened. There's a realignment in Maharashtra politics. What will be the fallout of that? Time will tell. But there was also a fake narrative during the Lok Sabha elections that, if Narendra Modi ji becomes Prime Minister of India again, the constitution will be changed, reservations will be stopped. That fake narrative was debunked in Haryana. And the Haryana win, I think BJP did a good job of explaining to the Haryana voters that what was stated by the opposition was clearly lies, innuendos, trying to mislead the people.
Right.
And that is something which all parties in the Mahayuti and in the NDA will be very aware of it in the Maharashtra election. So there have been a lot of lies. There are tons of lies that have happened in the last few months that I've been seeing.
Right.
Small thing I tweeted recently about the race course of Mumbai, which is going to generate 300 acres of public land, green spaces for the city of Mumbai.
Right.
The opposition was lying about it just till recently. And just yesterday, a decision was taken that it will remain a green space.
Right.
So there are so many lies which need to be debunked. Yes, I would say that the Mahayuti certainly has to be more aggressive in countering these lies, which it seems to be doing right now. But that happened during the Lok Sabha election. It did catch us unaware. But that will not happen in the assembly election, and I can assure you of that.
Okay.